on throughout here today. Here we go. Saying it's being live streamed. I'm going to pause in the background here. And while we are getting started this morning, I'll let everyone know that whether you're watching this live or in playback, this is an event that I do once a month, and I'm doing weekly right now. But this specific event, which is tailored to individuals who work in social media management or within marketing, or who just are interested in talking about social media and or marketing. And when I first set out this event, I put together a schedule. The first Friday of the month, we speak to job seekers. The second Friday, we speak to people who are self-employed, coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. And then the third Friday, we talk about company pages on LinkedIn. And the fourth Friday, I wanted to broaden it out to talk more about social media concepts in general, and also people who work in a marketing role who maybe are supporting and working in social media as well. And then I got a little bit of an idea burst and I said, well, there's some months that have 5 Fridays. Not every month does, but I think there's like 3 or 4 months every year that have a fifth Friday. And when that occurs, we're going to actually have a VIP office hours for tech check and tech tips. And I know that today is going to be a bit of a lighter day in terms of overall audience. If there are more questions or conversation, I'll certainly answer them for the group. And as more people come into the call, I'll answer those. If not, I might just go generally. And I think what I'm going to start to talk about today is, just this looping slideshow that I've created in the background. And I talked about these on one of my other calls as well, but I want to let you all know that I've created a different version of these for each of my Friday calls. And as you came into the room today, I had the slideshow kind of playing in the background. That is intentional. I come from a corporate marketing background, and I've also got a lot of years of experience as a presenter, as a speaker, as a meeting host. And I've learned that, we want to create this ambiance as people are coming into the room, whether we're in person or into the virtual room if you're presenting virtually, like I am doing here today. So think about this. If we were at a conference or an event and you walked into the room and it was just me in the front of the room, kind of walking back and forth, pacing, looking nervously, it might give you a certain vibe. Versus if you walk in the room and there's music playing and there's already people getting up and walking around and saying hi to each other, and I've got like a fun slideshow playing in the background that's teasing some of the topic or something, you might feel like, oh, this is going to be a great experience. Similar to what I do here virtually is when you come into the room, I want you to feel like you're not just looking at yourself on camera or a blank screen, the Zoom standard screen, but I like to give you something to look at. And it reminds me a little bit of when you go to the movies and you're watching the previews before the show is getting started. So this is kind of like my preview loop. And I have this playing in a loop. I've tried this with PowerPoint, and I guess I could try it with Canva too. I'm not sure if Canva allows you to do a loop, but I know that Google Slides does. So what I've done is I had started with my Friday VIP job seeker office hours. That's my standard template. And then I versionized it for this group. So every group on the cover slide, it will say, where we're at right now, fourth Friday of the month. So just to remind you, this is a monthly occurrence. And then you may notice throughout here that on some of the individual slides, I'm also using a QR code. And if you haven't tried these out lately, I want to let you know QR codes are a lot different nowadays than they were. I remember back in the day when they first launched, you had to have a special QR code reader. Now all you need to do is hold out your phone, open up your camera on your phone. I'm going to do this right now and just let it look like it's taking a picture. And as you hover over, you're going to notice that the link will upload. And I want to show you my little technique for how to create QR codes quickly. This one with it's like a dinosaur looking figure in the middle of it. That's when I just use the standard, whatever exists within the web page. I think it's Google Chrome is what I use for that. Let me show you how I do this right now. So I have my landing page, mellermarketing.com/Friday VIP. I think I learned this tip from John Experience. So I wish I could take credit for figuring it out myself. And I think he's the person who taught me this. So in the web address field at the top, there's a couple little symbols. There's the zoom, to make your window a little bit larger or smaller or whatnot, right? You have the share this page, and then the favorite, the little star icon to bookmark it. If you click on the share this page, then there's a drop down that appears and you can copy the link, send it to your devices. Hey, QR code. So this is it. And easiest way I do this is I click on create QR code and I just do a screen capture. I use a screen clipping tool just to grab that. And then I just copy and paste that into my Google Drive. So easy thing to do. I do want to share with you a new QR code generator that I started using this week, and it's kind of a neat tool that I started using. That's why I want to pull it up and show you. I was using one called QR Code Monkey, but then I noticed lately they're starting to have some hiccups, and that's not at all uncommon with free code generating tools. And I guess we're using it for free, so you get what you pay for, and I'm not paying for anything in this case. So there are some limitations with it. I've also heard if you want to create a QR code that you're going to have some shelf life. You're going to be printing it on, something printed, a brochure, a postcard, a pop-up banner or something. Don't use a free QR code generator, because if that generator ever doesn't work anymore, then you're not going to be able to use it. Now, I don't think that's the case with Chrome. So when you create it yourself, I think that'll always be a usable QR code, but you may not want the little dinosaur character in the middle of it, right? So let me show you the new one that I started using. I just need to get it loaded in the background, and then I'll show you what it looks like here. All right, so it is called, I guess, I don't know, QR code generator is the name of it. Let me see if I can find from the email. Yeah, QR code generator is the name of it. I'm not yet paying for this one, but I want to show you what I like about it. So I clicked on choose the type of QR code, and I said website. And then I'm going to drop my website inside of the website box, click on next. What I love about this is they give you a bunch of different options. And I love the fact that they give you some of these that are like scan me, like this one, it kind of shows an icon of your phone. The other one, it says the word scan me. I'm not sure if I like that font. It's a little bit hard to read on here, but I have a couple different variations that I can use in here. And by the way, no dinosaur code inside the middle. Now, I was creating these for one of my clients recently. Their name is Fishman Stewart. They're an intellectual property firm, and they have this mascot. Finney is his name, and you could put like a picture in the middle of the QR code. So I chose their mascot to insert in the middle. Now, you certainly could use a generic looking symbol, or you can choose their text scan me in the middle as well. But I just love the variety of different things that they give you. And these are all using the free site. So this one again is called QR code generator. And I'm trying to figure out, I have the email from them. Let me just put the help center. I have an email from them that I'm trying to get the web page without my login code to give to you guys. I'll put this in chat. This is their English version of their website. And by the way, if anyone else is using any great QR code generators for their marketing materials or for social media posts, feel free to drop the name inside chat or the link to the service if you'd like to do that. And I was using, like I said, QR code Monkey, and I've noticed lately it's getting a little bit wonky, a little bit slow. So I started using this one instead. So what I'm doing right now is, if you've just joined us, we had a smaller group today, so I've just started by walking through my slide deck, and I'm kind of pulling the curtain back on my show here and telling you what I do in here. So the first slide again was just a welcome. The second is an overview of the different VIP office hours by week type. And you may notice that I've added a fifth Friday event. Next month in December, we actually are going to have 5 Fridays. It's going to be like I think it's like December 29th or December 30th or something. So I know it's in between the holiday week there. It's going to be a pretty light week. I'm okay with that. Even if we only have 2 to 3 to 5 people on the call, we're going to test it out. And I think the next one after that will be March. So just so you know, kind of that's where things are at. And a little reminder that I'm on LinkedIn, and I look you up on LinkedIn as well. If you have joined the call today and you did register through my ad event, you are already on my email list. Keeping in mind, you can unsubscribe from topics. So if you get my emails about podcasts and you're not a podcast listener, just click on unsubscribe from podcasts and I won't send you those anymore. But I try to send 1 email a week minimum. Sometimes you'll get 2 emails. Sometimes when we're announcing a new program or event, you might get more, and you can opt out of that topic as well. But I want to make sure you don't miss out on stuff from me. And then finally, I have, this one's a pretty short slide deck here, but I do have a link to our private unlisted group. And again, you can hold up your phone, since we were talking about the QR codes. If you hold up your phone and just hover in front of that QR code, it will launch it from your phone and you can join it from your phone. Or you can go inside the chat right now And I'm going to put this link inside of chat. If you are not yet a member of our private unlisted group on LinkedIn, highly want to encourage you to come on out and join us over here. And this is something that once we start the Zoom, if my intern Julia is on, she'll post the Zoom link in here, and I'll just put in here right now. Here is the YouTube playback of our call today. By the way, did you notice a little AI thing that's coming up? I'll talk about that a little bit later in the call today, but let me just put this in here for now. So here's the YouTube playback of our call today. So you can go to the group later. If you ever miss a call, you can go inside here. And if I find topics, trending topics, things that might be of interest to the group, I will share that resource inside the group with all of you. I want to encourage all of you as well. If you have any resources that you would like to share with others, feel free to drop them inside the group. And I might even put like, here's my, I'll just say, let's talk QR codes. Which site do you use to generate QR codes? I'm currently using, and I'm going to put mine in here, and I'll just say drop your links below. And that way, that'll encourage another thread inside the group here as related to a topic that we talked about on our calls. Okay, so what else? If you come to this group on LinkedIn, it is a private unlisted group. Private means the only people who can see the group activity are group members. It's not public anywhere on LinkedIn. Unlisted means you can't find it in the group directory. The only way you can find it is by being on the call here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, technically you could probably like pause your screen and zoom in on the link. But if you're in the Zoom, you can just go into the chat and click on the link. And when you first come in here, you have to click on the button that says request to join. It's a very private group. So you have to kind of like knock on the door virtually, so to speak. And then I will have to admit you into the group. And I do that because I'm trying to make this group valuable and not junky. You know what I mean? You ever get inside of a group and there's just a bunch of salespeople trying to sell to you, and it's not the people who you thought were going to be on the call. So I'm going to go ahead and admit Royson because I know that he's on the call today. I saw his name inside of chat, and now he can see all the group posts and he can communicate with others as well.
Yay!
Hey, and I see Paul Gott. Am I saying your last name correctly, Paul? Did I say it correctly? You can unmute and correct me if you'd like.
I go by, it's Goot.
Paul Gooch. Thank you, Paul. So I admitted Paul into the group as well. So if there's anyone else who'd like to come into the group, feel free. And then when you are inside the group, you can see the group members. This group is just getting started here. So we're up to 8 people. Hey, we all have to start somewhere, right? And I want to just encourage you, you can connect with fellow group members, mention that you were both on one of the calls with me, and you can start to do some networking in there. All right, so we got the room warmed up now. We got a couple more people on. You can be camera on or camera off. I am fresh-faced, if you will. It's the Friday morning after a holiday. I had a hard time sleeping last night with all those heavy foods. I don't know about all of you. Got up a little bit late, took the dog for a walk, got my coffee, burned my tongue on the coffee, and the call. And so what I'd like to do now is we'll just go around the room, and camera on or camera off, it's completely up to you. But if you would like to introduce yourself, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. And I'm going to do camera on people first, and then I will call on the people that don't have their camera on, the camera off people. If you want to turn your on, or you can just keep your camera off and introduce yourself. But if you could tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, what brings you to the call today? You know, are you working in social media or marketing? Are you, just loving these small group interactions? Just tell me what brought you to the call. And then I also want to encourage you to drop your introduction into the chat, because then we can network with each other if we're not connected on LinkedIn. And you never know when somebody is in one of these calls that might be able to do business with you in the future, or to refer business to you as well. All right, so we're going to go in this order. We're going to go Paul first, followed by Annette. I'll ask you, everyone, if you could just keep yourself on mute until it's your turn to speak so we don't get that background noise. That would be awesome. All right, Paul, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Paul Goot. I'm here in the Northeast on a sunny day in New Jersey. I am a senior marketing executive with extensive background in financial services marketing. My former employers would include companies like AIG or Citibank or HSBC. Currently, I'm in career transition. I'm looking for my next senior marketing level role. preferably here in the Northeast, but open to remote or possibly relocation. Um, I consult as I'm in transition. I've taken on some engagements related to marketing as well as other opportunities. I worked with Brenda on my profile, and she gave some great advice. And so I came to this morning to just sort of learn more about the Friday calls and see what other great insights I can glean. So that's about me. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome. And Paul, in our call, we did talk about the name pronunciation. I'm just looking at your profile. I think you have it enabled on there as well, right? On your
Yeah.
profile. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, well, welcome. So glad to have you here, Paul. Okay, Annette, you are up next, and then on deck will be Royce.
Well, good morning. I didn't sleep very well last night either after eating all that great food yesterday, although I didn't have to cook, so that was an absolute treat. And I apologize in advance for our loud dogs who bark constantly, and here they just ran in here to join the conversation. So I'm Annette Richmond, and I work with consultants, entrepreneurs, and coaches, and helping to cure content creation paralysis. And that's it for me. I'll keep it short today.
All right, thank you, Annette. And I think you had asked, is the link the same every month? Were you referring to the link to join this call?
Yeah, the reason that I'm asking is I had tried to register and I registered like 5 times and I never got the Zoom. Oh, spotlight. Oh, no.
I was just keeping you on camera because you and I are talking. It's going to pop back and forth, and I just wanted to keep us on. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I had registered several times and I did not get the Zoom link to join, and then I registered with a different email address and I got the Zoom immediately. I actually had the similar problem when I was trying to register for the group like 2 weeks ago. I forget the name of it, the Friday group. And so I'm just wondering if it's the same link all the time, which is why when I was registering with the, my kind of link email on file, that I wasn't getting the Zoom. So anyway, just.
No, and thank you for asking the question. And I'm going to share the screen as I'm talking about this right now. And this is another way I pull the curtain back on telling you guys like all the things I do and how I run my calls and how I use the resources. So I'm using this tool. It's called Add Event. It is a paid tool that I use to integrate with my website. And I use this for both my membership programs and my online courses, which are paid, as well as for my free Friday office hours. And the way that I set these up is I have on each Friday of the month, it is a different Zoom link, and it is a recurring link. So you'll see here that
Okay.
this says repeats the fourth Friday of the month, starting from August 25 through forever. So we don't have an end date set on it. So what might have happened, Annette, is the first time you registered for it, let's say it was in September, I'm just making that up. You registered for it in September, you may have gotten an email and it might have went into your junk folder. And it might not be any fault of yours, it's just your computer's like, that looks a little suspicious, and put it into junk folder. And then you registered for it again, but Add Event said, oh, we already have Annette, so we don't need to send her a reminder on there. And that's part of the reason. Did you get the email I sent this morning saying, yes, we are still meeting today now for the Friday call? Part of the reason I do those is I'm hearing some issues coming from people. And since the registration sits on Add Event and it's not through my calendar where I can like do an email reminder, I have to go into Add Event. And what I like about this tool is it does give you the ability, I can just click on email attendees and send a message out to everyone. And then you may have all noticed as well on the landing page when you register, there's a little box at the bottom. I don't know if I can see it from this page. Event page. I think if I click on this one, let me try to open it in a new incognito window because I want to show you all what I do. And this is a really great technique for those of you who are using events to try to reach your ideal target audience and at the same time grow your email list. So at the time that you sign up, I put this in the body of the event. By signing up for this event, you agree to be added to my VIP email marketing list. And nobody wants to be added to a list. So I'm trying to tell you what you get, and I say, I hate spam and I promise only to send you fabulous tips and event reminders. You can unsubscribe at any time. And then I have my intern once or twice a month, she'll go through and pull everyone who's registered and add them to the email list as well. So it's a really great little technique of building your list, but it's not without fault. And as you explained, Annette, if you registered once before and it remembers you, even if you try to register again, you're not necessarily going to be able to get the link unless And what I heard you say is I registered with a different email, and then it kind of identified you. So great to
Okay.
see you.
That's what I figured. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Okay. We'll go next to Royce, followed by Susan.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm definitely a content marketer, but I'm more of a marketing coach at the same time, if that makes sense. I was a broadcaster on the radio for over 30 years, and I used to do the morning shows. So I would be off at 11 o'clock and decided, hey, I got the, after a nap, of course, had the rest of the time to do something and decided to get into copywriting. So technically, I started with copy first. I became a marketing coach. I've been doing that for 17 years. And my favorite part has always been messaging. So that's why I kind of lean towards content and copywriting more. But it's really a lot of, that's why I like getting a hold of clients. And like, no, you don't really need Facebook ads for this. Let's talk about this. Why does this work? So that's what I do. I found you on LinkedIn, Brenda, and I love your stuff. And I thought, I'm going to check this out. So even though it's a little rough this morning, we're all here. So that's good.
Yeah, and the good thing is we're a smaller group, so we can have some good conversations here today. So thank you, Royce.
Absolutely.
All right. Next up will be Susan. Good morning, Susan. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, Susan Moore. I'm a nurse by background, and I'm going on 34 years in the accreditation consulting business and managed care. So I don't get on these for marketing myself because nobody is ever, my ideal customer avatar. But I do get on because I know that my referral source, which is all word of mouth or references by the national accreditor, will probably dribble off, and I will be getting into marketing. That's Q1 24. My goal is to increase my marketing presence. And I joined this because I'm a Brenda fangirl, because she helped me set up my profile years ago, enhance what I already had, and I've had kudos on that. And Brenda, I've also shared your name with my mastermind group that's all over the US. So, who knows what'll happen with that, but I try to share that.
Wonderful. I love that when you said you're a Brenda fangirl, I'm like, ooh, I need to get some t-shirts made with that or coffee mugs. You're so sweet, Susan. And it's funny because you and I go back like pre-pandemic, and even I want to say, was it like 2017, 2018 when we first met? Like
Mhm.
it was a while back, but we met at a Panera up in, was it like Clarkston or something?
Lake
Lake
Orion,
Orion?
Auburn Hills area,
Yeah.
Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the pre-pandemic days when I would do LinkedIn coaching with my clients, we would typically meet at a coffee shop or their offices and have our laptops side by side, and we would go through and do everything. I mean, now with the pandemic, and I really haven't changed this process. During the pandemic, everything went virtual, and the benefit of that is everything was recorded and I could send them a playback. One of the challenging parts about that is, I'm having, okay, Susan's share your screen, and I get varying levels of technical proficiency with that, and they would be like, share the who, the what, all the way up to they were already sharing the screen and they're navigating around pretty quickly. And the great thing is inside of Zoom, and hopefully you guys are all using this tool, but inside of Zoom, there's an annotation feature. Where is it at inside here? Now that I'm saying it, okay, if you click on annotate, you have to be like the meeting host to do this. And then you can circle. So if you look on the left side of the screen, I'm circling things in blue here right now. And there's different ways of using the tool too. You can put little green check marks and things like that too. So I use those tools to help people to navigate as we're looking around the screen. But I do, I enjoyed meeting with people in person from before, but I think the trade-off is sometimes when you get to do the Zoom recording, you can record it, and we couldn't do that in person. I guess we technically could, but we'd have to have sound on, and it'd be very awkward to record. But at any rate, Susan, I am just delighted to be on here for you and for all of the others as well. And I want to thank you so much for joining. So what I'd like to do now is we'll just open up the floor to see if anyone has any questions. While I'm waiting for your questions to come in, and by the way, if you could use the raise hand feature inside of Zoom, if you go down to your menu bar at the bottom and click on reactions. I'm going to test mine out right now. There's a little raise hand feature right here, and you can just raise your hand. If you have any questions related to anything, social media related, marketing related, LinkedIn related, feel free to raise your hand. Don't be shy. This is your time. And if we don't get any questions coming in, I will create topics to keep the conversation flowing. But while we are waiting for that, I wanted to let all of you know, what is this saying? AI companion. I thought I already had this set up. I don't know what I just did. At any rate, my introduction, I forgot to introduce myself. So my name is Brenda Meller. I help business professionals, solopreneurs, and job seekers to get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. Part of the reason I say this introduction is that my introduction of myself has changed over the years, and I'm getting a little bit more fine-tuned. And I've had conversations with like Annette about this too, where as you grow and your business grows and evolves, sometimes you start to pivot the audiences that you're serving. Even you look at your menu of services and you start to feel like, I could do this in my sleep. I want to do something different instead. And one thing I'm looking at is I'm growing my presence to do more online virtual things like online courses and memberships and things like that into the new year. But I'm also looking at the heavy lifting, the packages that I do that to like roll up my sleeves, and it's all me doing it. For example, I do a executive LinkedIn profile rewrite. And I find myself going on the same journey with these every single time. It's a very intensive process. I don't use AI, and I go through my clients' materials, which is like a resume, CV, bio. I go through their LinkedIn profile. I look through their website bio, anything they give me. I look up their job title. I look up their competitors, other people with their job title in their category. I do a complete scan of skills, keywords, and then I put on my marketing hat and I start going through the process of rewriting and optimizing their LinkedIn profile. And it usually takes me, I mean, if I sat down, I could probably do it in a weekend over the course of a couple days, but it usually takes me about 10 days to go through the process. And I tend to like wait to the last minute to get it done. And then this procrastination like propels me forward. And I start with, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This person is, and they're always executives that hire me for this. So they're very impressive background. And they're very, sometimes it's intimidating. I'm working with like CEOs and board members and really amazing people. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to come up with something that they're going to like. And I get to the end of the process and I'm like, I'm really happy with it. And I deliver the recommendations to them and I do a review with them. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. But I feel like going into 2024, even though it's a pretty high ticket item, I don't get a lot of them and they're very intensive. I don't think I'm going to do them anymore. If I do them, I might find a copywriter to do some of the outsourcing with. So I'm trying to debate that. But at any rate, I see that I've gotten a hand raised from Paul and a couple comments coming inside of chat. So Paul, how can I help you today?
Brenda, I was just curious. I
Mhm.
was on a call last week with a gentleman who's also a marketer, and he's really educated himself on AI and specifically ChatGPT,
Mhm.
and demonstrated with the paid version some really amazing capabilities to use and sort of pre-program AI or ChatGPT to in LinkedIn to find articles or to evaluate articles and create content, create posts,
Mhm.
or even to respond posts by having a little link or a tool within the post screen that will auto generate a response from you in a voice that you want regarding an article or a post that was already in your feed.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing, and he's figured out some ways to kind of pre-code that and have that as a ready set tool. And I wondered if you were exploring anything along those lines or had
Yeah,
heard about that or knew. You can only do it with the paid version, but it seemed to really, so depending on your feelings about AI and sort of having, maybe you're not reading the article and it's already generating a reply for you, but it seemed like a huge time saver and a really great way to curate content and activity on LinkedIn. So
yeah. Great question. And let me just show you, I'm a LinkedIn premium member, and I pulled this up in the background as you were talking. So now what happens if you're a premium member, you're paying for the paid version of LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator. When you click on start a post, you'll get this message saying enhance your draft with AI, enter a minimum of 20 words to get started. I'm still in a wait and see mode on AI. I've tried out some ChatGPT and a couple other tools. My friend Kendra Corman, I'm going to give her a shout out. She had a guest on her show and they were talking about ChatGPT and AI tools and all of this. And I loved her analogy, which was that ChatGPT and AI tools, they're basically like a calculator is to math. So, and when I say that, you might be nodding your head and going, "Yep, okay, yep," because it makes it faster, it's more efficient, things like that. But when I work with my daughter, she's in 7th grade. When I work with my daughter on her math problems, I try to, at the end, after she comes up with the solution, I say, "Does that make sense?" And I think it's the same way with Chat GPT. After you come up with the answer, does that make sense? Does it make sense for your voice? Does this feel artificial? Does it feel like you? And I think just about everybody I've heard from is saying the same thing. It's pretty good, but I had to tweak it just a little bit to make it fit my voice. Like I wouldn't have used that word or phrase, or that felt a bit stiff or stilted, so I needed to change it. And like going back to my daughter with her math and her algebra, sometimes we can like double check our work by trying to input the output into the AXZY equation, whatever, and see if it makes sense to come out on the back end of it. So even if we use a calculator to do the computation, we need to understand math. We need to understand the logic of what you put in and what you get out, and does that make sense? And I feel like it's the same way with Chat GPT. And I appreciate and I understand that some people really struggle with coming up with content and with writing responses, and it doesn't come as naturally to them as it does with other people who are comfortable with copywriting. My approach is always, let's think about, if I were standing next to you, Paul, like what would I say to you? And I think sometimes people get so caught up in their head of thousands of people are going to be reading this. So what do I want them all to know about what I'm saying, as opposed to, let's just think about your ideal target audience reading it. What do they need to know? And if you're speaking to one person, I think it makes it a lot easier to do so. Having said all that, I'm hearing a lot more people embracing AI and ChatGPT. And again, they're saying it's a good starting point, then I have to tweak and modify and embrace it. I'm also seeing, in the earlier days of AI and ChatGPT, I was seeing a lot of like caution, like be careful, because what we put into it, we don't know what happens. It goes into a melting pot. And even the content that they're coming up with is a combination, amalgamation of a lot of different sites and sources. So it's not pure original content coming from you. And then also it's this whole, the computers versus man conversation, human conversation, right? Like, and I'm even seeing some people talking now about there are tools that you can use to create content on LinkedIn, like this one right here. And then you can use another tool to create comments coming back and replies and responses. So at what point do we not go on LinkedIn anymore? We just let the computers talk it out amongst each other. And then honestly, then we lose the human value of it. Then we don't need to do it anymore. And I don't know about all of you, but I can sense when something feels AI generated or Chat GPT generated. It just feels very, it feels like anyone could have said that. It doesn't feel like Annette said that. And I'm not saying Annette is using these tools. I'm just using a name for it. Like I read it and I go, well, that doesn't sound like her. It sounds artificial. And I'm one where I reward what I believe is true, genuine content that resonates with me, with people that I support and I know, like, and trust and all that good stuff. But I feel like the more I'm seeing of ChatGPT type of responses, I don't want to reward, I'm not going to say bad behavior, but I don't want to reward inauthentic behavior, if that makes sense. That's my personal choice on these things. Susan, I see that you have raised your hand. Did you want to add something to the conversation, or did you have something different you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, just got a knock on the front door, so I was going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm really a slow adopter. I like to see how things sift out. I also have no trouble creating content. It's just the time to do that. I've been in my executive coaching group, which I told you guys about a few weeks ago. It was an incredible presentation on it. The guy wrote a book in less than 8 hours using Chat GPT. And the thing is that it's not going to be a standalone. You have to work on it to give it your voice and how you would say it. And yeah, the privacy laws have not caught up to the technology. So that's why I can't use it to review all of my client agreements, because that would be violating their confidentiality, because once it's out there, it's out there. But if you can use it to generate content, you can make it really sound like your voice, and it can save an incredible amount of time. And in fact, one of the members pivoted in 23 to become an AR marketing firm. And she's been able to take on a lot more clients while still providing a lot of satisfaction. Now, the feedback that I got is that on the group a few days ago is that ChatGPT 4, which is the newest one, you have to wait for it unless you're already a ChatGPT member, because they just didn't have enough bandwidth for it because it's had a lot of uptake. But anyway, just wanted to give my 2 cents from what I've been seeing and how it can be used and how it can save you a ton of time. And if you embrace it, it can become really your friend and drive a lot more revenue while still staying authentic and transparent.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Susan, you just made me think of something, another use for it, not a cautionary, but like a pro use for it. Sometimes I have people that will come up with a post and they're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I'm not sure if it's great. And they'll put that into ChatGPT and they'll say, make it better. And they'll give some qualifications. And then ChatGPT will polish it up. So it's still their original voice and content that's coming in. But I think there's still a lot of discussion going back and forth on these things. And I see Annette raise her hand. So we'll go to you next, Annette, and then we'll go back to Paul.
So I just wanted to say 100% with everything that you were saying on that. I use it I have the paid version. I've had it for a while and I use it all the time, but I would never, and I know people, I hear what you're saying about you can tell that it's written by ChatGPT. I know people who create content in ChatGPT and they post that on LinkedIn. And to me, no offense to anyone else, but seems like pablum to me, that it's all kind of the same. But I will add 2 things that I use it for. One is brainstorming and one is summarizing. Like if I'm working with like a huge amount of text, I can put that in there and say, give me a summary, give me, a 1 or 2 line summary and give me the steps or whatever in bullets. And so I use it that way as a time saver. But I am so 100% with the whole idea of, just having ChatGPT and talking to each other on platforms. I don't know. That really bothers me as well. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had conversations. There's like different threads on LinkedIn with LinkedIn coaches and trainers, and we're all talking about the same thing. And when we get on the subject of ChatGPT and we share resources and things that we're hearing, and we're like, yeah, there's these tools. There's tools that will post for you. There's tools that will reply for you. I'm like, well, we don't even do anything then. We just step out. We don't even need to be on LinkedIn, and we kind of laugh about it. But and I can appreciate that people do use it, Annette, like you said, for brainstorming. Like, because some people, you and I, Annette, we could come up with a LinkedIn topic every day to talk about, and we would never run out of ideas. But we know the process of coming up with ideas, and we are marketers, you and I, and there are people that are not marketers that struggle with idea generation, and I can appreciate how these tools can help to give you a little bit of a leg up in areas where you're not as strong. Just like for me, math is not my strong suit. So thankfully I have a calculator on my phone and I can pull those things up and do quick math and equations. All right, Paul, we'll go back to you now.
I appreciated all the comments, and I think I was more interested in the sort of how the technology is being used to, apart from all the sort of philosophical debates around the human approach to it.
Yeah.
I put in the chat a link to a gentleman's website that I was speaking to, and I'm sure he'll appreciate. He's made these tools available to anybody, but the tools themselves are things that he programmed using ChatGPT, and you'll see them they're really quite fascinating to me as a marketer because he's really enabled tools here to do a number of steps, whether it's creating scripts, whether it's scouting articles, whether it's composing email or writing pay-per-click ads. I just thought what he had done was really kind of amazing. And I wondered, Brenda, and if you've kind of come across people using the tool this way, not just for LinkedIn, but in general, how to for advertising overall. Anyway, you're welcome to explore the website he's got. These tools are available, and I just found them really fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's still so new right now. And this is the first time I've seen somebody put together a collection of resources on the website. And thank you for sharing that in chat. I'll make sure that we put this in the YouTube description as well for those that are watching the YouTube playback so they can look at the resources as well. And yeah, I'm all about exploring the tool and figuring out different ways of using it. And I think the more comfortable that we're all getting with it, and the more that we start to see these quote unquote experts coming onto the scene. I'm saying that because it's still so new. And I remember it reminds me a little bit when social media was new. And within like the first 6 months, there were Facebook experts and LinkedIn experts and Instagram. I remember that, like it was back, like, how can you be an expert? We're only 6 months into this. But I think those people that have embraced it early on and are leaning into it and are figuring out different uses are going to be the leaders in the space. And we're going to see a lot more of people doing collections of using the resources like this too. So yeah, I'm all about leaning into it. And I think I've gone from being very skeptical to now being curious how we can use them, but I'm still approaching that with a bit of caution. Um, I still believe that, you need to understand the logic of things that are going in. You need to understand the implications of these things as well. But I am starting to see more of the potential and power that these tools can give us. So thanks for that. And by the way, feel free to drop names of other resources. I see Annette dropped a name in chat as well, Frank Pendercast. He's a LinkedIn connection. You see him talking a lot about this on LinkedIn. Annette, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I had him as a guest on my show on my LinkedIn Live a couple of months ago, and he is very into all these different. And thank you for that link to the guy with all the other things. But he was on my show and he talked a lot about it. He's actually coming on my new one to talk about using AI for creating content and all different things. He turned me on to a bunch of things. But also, I recently went to a conference and we had 2 sessions there on AI and had someone come in and talk about all the different sites that you can use to create things. And I will just say with the premium ChatGPT, you do have access to DALL-E, and I have been using that to create images for my podcast sound bites because and I got that idea from Frank, because they're more interesting than just having the image from the podcast. And so I've been doing that, and I think the images are really, really cool. So yeah. Frank is really quite an interesting guy.
Yeah, I think I had a chat with him too. And feel free, Annette, if you have the link for your podcast for that specific show, if you want to drop that into the show notes as well. I'm all about sharing resources. And if anyone else on the call has any additional resources on the subject of AI for marketing for social media purposes, feel free. Has anyone in this group used the LinkedIn tool, the premium tool for creating posts that I was showing up on screen? I've not dabbled with it yet. I probably will, but I'll be honest, usually when I go on to post on LinkedIn, I've already got an idea. I don't need LinkedIn to create one for me, but I'm watching that right now. I'm always I will never be I don't want to say never, but more than likely not be the first LinkedIn coach to talk about a feature. The people I usually see talking about things first are Kevin D. Turner, John Asperian. They tend to go out and they announce things the second they see them. I'm more in I want to wait and see how people are using it. I test it out myself. I figure out what are the pros, what are the cons, what are the cautions we need to be aware of, or how can we use this new feature to our advantage. And then I usually wait until most people have the feature on LinkedIn before I start talking about it. Because what I find is sometimes frustrating is I'll talk about a feature on LinkedIn and people will say, well, I don't have that. So it's not going to be relevant to you now. I like to try it out, kick the tires, figure out what I like about it, what I don't like about it, how to use it the wrong way, and then I go out and post and talk about it. So I will talk about this LinkedIn post generating feature, the AI tool, at some point in the future, but I won't be using it just yet to talk about. So let's see. Thank you for putting that in there. So you put a couple other chats there. All right. Any other thoughts on AI, or should we change gears a little bit here? I'm not seeing anything else coming in here. Susan, you had in chat, if no one has questions, feel free to talk about your full coaching program that's on your website. Do you want to clarify? Are you looking for specific questions on that? Do you want to learn my methodology? What questions do you have about that?
It was more of what your package entails. Because of everything else I've had going on, I could not avail myself of that, but I felt like it would be really beneficial. And I don't know if you ever promote yourself with doing that, the tiered package. So I just thought I'd give you a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, I guess at first I'm going to put on my marketing hat and I'm going to say, starting from the homepage of your website, this is a really good exercise for all of you to be thinking about. If you are working for yourself and you're trying to promote your products and services, assuming you don't have a direct link to go to the web, like let's assume you're somebody off the street, so to speak, who's coming to the homepage of your website. Is it clear to people, first of all, how to navigate to learn more about your services? And I have my services listed in several places on my website. In my top menu bar, I have a link for LinkedIn services. And then when you go to here, it's almost like a navigation tool. It kind of walks you through it's like if you were to walk into McDonald's, it's my menu board. Like, here are the things that I have to sell. So you can kind of walk through that from the top menu bar. I'm using my checklist right now as a tool to start sharing free resources with individuals that come to my website. Now, you might come in here as a job seeker and you see the do this now. You go into that. You provide your name and email address. So now you're getting into my email list to get in exchange for the free resource that is designed with intention. And as you continue to scroll down the page, let's say you missed the header at the top, I do a menu of the different services here, and each of these will link to those web pages. As you scroll down, there's some videos, recommendations, join my list. And then I still use the fat footer, and this is something I'm using Kajabi for my website. Kajabi doesn't offer this as a built-in tool, so I actually had my intern create, it's like a 4-column thing, but we put the website navigation, all the major categories, into different buckets. And this is pulling from my former corporate days when we used to do website design. The fat footers were just an easy way of merchandising the different links. And most of these are already provided in some other place on my homepage, but it just provides a nice category menu of services on here. There's a few that aren't anywhere else in the top of the web page. For example, I have one that's called LinkedIn Help. And anytime I come across resources that can assist you with getting answers to questions, contacting LinkedIn, things like that, I put them on this webpage. So this, to me, honestly, is it's like a bookmark place that I go to and add in links and resources. And as LinkedIn changes, they will change their links. So I will update my links inside here. So for example, contact LinkedIn customer support, visit this link to get customer support from LinkedIn. When you click on this link, it takes you to the LinkedIn help page for that. And I have each of these set up to open in a new tab. Hopefully you're using the same technique on your website. And what I mean by that is if you click here for a link, the LinkedIn forms and help page still stays open, but it opens that link into a new tab. That way, if I close out of that link, I'm not navigating off of my website. So a little bit of a behind the scenes there. And there are, sometimes LinkedIn will launch new pages, like they have LinkedIn finally listened to us, and they launched a page that doesn't sit on LinkedIn.com. It's sitting on LinkedIn-status.com, where if the site is down, you can now go here and see if the site is down. If it's just me, or is it the site down? Like, you can go there now. And things like, submitting a LinkedIn ticket, they keep moving this. The last time I updated this was September 4th, but I think if I click on it now, it takes you back to the help directory. It used to be the form. Oh no, it says create a support ticket. So we can go inside there. And so a lot of these things are links for my clients that I'm using. At any rate, starting at the home page of my website, I'm just closing off all these tabs. I just kind of walked you through the hierarchy. of all of those things. And I do have my coaching services, my one-to-one services in a couple different places on the website. So the one that I'm considering sunsetting, I think I like that word. Sunsetting, is that a good word to use? Like, I'm gonna probably close it off for now. I might come back to it again later because they're so intensive. I get I might get one or two of these a month, but it's it's very much roll up your sleeves and it's a very intensive process. So I have one that is an executive package, which is an entire executive profile rewrite enhancement. Plus, this package includes 6 1-hour coaching sessions. So after I do the profile rewrite and update, then we do that process. And that's a $2,500 package. And I find it interesting sometimes when I'll propose different packages to clients, like the VIP C-suite level executive clients. If you give them 3 choices, they will always choose the most expensive one. And it's like that, and they will pay you right away. There are people out there that they're like, take my money, do the work for me. They usually will come to me by way of referral as well. And they don't question my value because they know so and so, and you did their profile, so I know you're going to do an immediate. They're like, here's, and I'll say I'll do like 50% down, 50%. Can you just do pay in full? Like they're like, take my money, And it's not like I get a ton of these, but you do get some coming in. The next one down is just the profile rewrite without the 6 hours of coaching, and I charge $1,800 for that package. And then after that, then we go into the VIP coaching package. And this is an iteration, Susan, of what we had done in person pre-pandemic. I've changed this package just a little bit, but it is still a 2-hour coaching session. It's now delivered virtually instead of in person. And then I also do with this package a 30-minute accountability phone call, recorded playback of all of those. Depending on what we talk about in the call, I'll send additional resources, blogs, videos, etc. And then I do a personalized LinkedIn profile resource guide. I don't think I was doing that with you at the time, Susan, but now what I do is a pre-profile review scan of the person's profile. And everything that we cover in training goes into this profile resource guide as well. So if we look at your headshot photo and you need to make changes, I grab a screen capture, I put my recommendations based on what I'm seeing for your photo. So this is personalized by the individual user. And I typically will provide it to them before the phone call for their reference afterwards. Sometimes I update it afterwards based on things that we discuss in the phone call. But this is a $750 package. It's pay in full upfront. And I will probably continue doing these. I'll be honest, I like doing these because it's to teach the person how to do it themselves. And then I guide them through the process of doing their profile rewrite. I would always try to steer a person towards this package where it's the do it with me approach versus the do it for me. Even though I make more money on the VIP, I'd rather on the executive profile rewrite package, I would rather teach a person to do it themselves because then they can maintain and update their accounts over time. The other thing I'm considering changing up in 2024 is my hourly coaching packages. And I'm sharing this with all of you because maybe you're thinking about what you're doing with your offerings coming into the new year. And I hear so many people saying, don't do hourly, don't do hourly, don't do hourly rates and things like that. But I have to tell you, I get clients all the time that will book a 1-hour session with me. And that's their entry into working with me. And sometimes I'll have somebody that will start with a $250 package and then they'll book a team training or a company page package or something. They'll sign up for my course, whatever. But what I'm now starting to do is just from a marketing perspective, instead of saying it's a 1-hour coaching, I'm calling it a power hour. So it's just a slight marketing spin on what the offering is called. So I say you can buy a single power hour, you can buy a 4-segment package, a 10-segment, a 20-segment. I'm debating about, what those offerings look like coming into the new year. And I actually had a math typo in here, and I did an email out to my full email list. If you're on my email list, you may have seen this. It was about a month ago because I had somebody that I met with for a 1-hour session for $250. And he said, you know what, this has been so great. I want to upgrade. Can I do the 4-hour package? Because I noticed it's only $350 more to do that. And I'm like, I honor the rates that I'm published. And I said, yeah. And then I sat down afterwards. I'm like, why is it 600? And the way I did my pricing for these packages, and if you follow the math along with me, so if you do 20 hours, it's 2,000. If you divide 2,000 by 20, it's $100 per hour. 10, so if you do 1,500 divided by 10, it's 150. 600 divided by 4, it's the same rate, 150. So this one should actually be a $200 per session rate. But what I'm doing right now is I've messaged everyone who's booked a 1-hour session with me. And I've said through December 31st, if you want, you can upgrade to the 4-hour package. So pay $350 more and you get 3 hours more of coaching with me. So for those of you who've paid 1 hour for 250, you can upgrade to the 4-hour package for an additional 350 and get three more hours with me. And they feel like, and I explained to them, I made a math error, but I'm gonna acknowledge and hold through to this rate through the end of the year. And I've gotten a couple people who've done that, who now will upgrade to the 4-hour package going with me. So it's just a different way of kind of packaging, the offerings and things that you're doing. Yeah, math is not my strong suit. When I realized, I'm like, why did I even do that? I must have been just a keystroke error on here. But if you click on the landing page for this, I've built the page at a $600 rate. So I don't know where the math error came into play, but at any rate, I'm always like, I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences, and at any point that I can use this learning experiences as content, whether it's to my VIP email list or as a LinkedIn post. One, it keeps me grounded as a person, right? It's like I thought sometimes disclosing that stuff, it makes me a real person because other people go, oh, I do stuff like that sometimes too. And on that same note, if you ever see me making mistakes online or in my emails, please do reply back to me. I've always heard that expression, a good friend will tell you when you have spinach on your teeth, right? Like, tell me if you see an error in something that I'm doing. Like, I had a friend, Terry Bean. I don't know if you guys are following Terry Bean. He's an amazing person. He has done some LinkedIn things in the past. He's a keynote speaker. He's now training people on doing TED Talks or getting a TED Talk. And I'm on his email list, and he sent out an email. It was like the day before Thanksgiving with the Black Friday, and it's click this link for the special rate. And I'm not looking to book someone to train me to become a TEDx speaker, but I support Terry. And I tried clicking on the link and it was broken. And I emailed him back like right away. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know, the link's not working for me. I don't know if you heard this from anyone else yet or not, but I just wanted to let you know. I said, I'm not looking to book it. I just wanted to support you. And I test out all the links and stuff like that. And he replied back, and he actually posted about it today on LinkedIn. I'm sure I wasn't the only person. He didn't call out me by name, but he said my link was broken. I changed out my website the same day I sent out my email, and this is what happened. But it does draw attention to things in a non-salesy way, even if they are sales promotions and things like that. So I think that's all I have to cover for today. And hopefully you all found some great value in joining us for the call. I'll remind all of you that these VIP office hours will continue. I'm debating what to do going into 2024, whether they will continue free or I will be launching a membership program coming into the new year. And because of that, I'll be doing some new offerings, Zoom calls and networking and master classes and workshops and things like that for my members. At the current time, I'm probably going to continue on with the monthly calls through end of March. I won't end them abruptly, but I do want to continue on at least for the first few months of the year, and then I'll be making some decisions. The Friday VIP Job Seeker office hours will continue the first Friday of the month. The others are where I'm looking at, do they belong under offerings, membership offerings instead of standalone? But at any rate, just stay tuned to your email for details about that. And have a great rest of the weekend, and enjoy if you're celebrating here in the US, enjoy the rest of your leftovers and pie and all that good stuff. And I will see you all on LinkedIn. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you again for joining.
Bye.